So Jason Collins comes out this week as the first admittedly gay NBA active player, and it's big news. Of course, there's not allowed to be much pushback. David Stern, the commissioner, announced his support. Kobe Bryant, the perennial NBA great, tweeted his support. And President Obama even called Jason Collins to extend his support and admiration. And so in an instant where there's no pushback allowed, things get really weird because everything is rah, rah, yay, yay, and makes you wonder what the problem was. But the people who might express the problem are kind of hush-hush and lying back. Anyone who expresses anything that's not just rah, rah is looked down upon and needs to take it back. So there'll be some pushback here today, briefly, quickly, and setting out the issues that are really at stake. And it's not personal. I mean, Jason Collins, what's not to like about him? I mean, a college basketball player from Stanford University. I mean, a real, college athlete, a real student athlete. Hard to beat. So this is not personal about Jason. This is actually the real deal about the issue. And let's take them one at a time. In my recent released book, 6 Secessional Signs, Why America Must Come Apart, in Chapter 3, sign number 3, homosexuality is highlighted as one of the wrongnesses up under which a nation cannot even stand. And what's really, in a nutshell, I can't go through the whole chapter, but, there's such great shame in homosexuality. Great shame. The Bible says it, and everyone who's hiding says it. Everyone in the closet says it, and everyone who takes as long to come out proves the shame. It sets apart from other sins in its great shame. Adultery, bad. Murder, bad. But there's great shame associated with homosexuality, scripturally and in reality. And so what happens is that finally, lack of character, lack of a pathway, lack of hope gets people to resign themselves to really their penile proclivities, which is, whatever, man, I'm just going to do the gay life. And that's really what's going on. That's why it's such a big deal. And there's no fight back. Think about it, for instance. In AA, when Tom stands up and says, my name is Tom and I'm an alcoholic, he is applauded, not because he's going to get drunk every night, not because he's moved into the town bar, not because everyone will read about him every night in the paper for a DUI. No, because it's inherent and understood that Tom has admitted his shortfall and is now embarking upon a truthful, real effort to turn it around. That's why Tom is celebrated, because he's not giving up. He's acknowledging who he is, but not yielding to it. But putting up a fight, hasn't given up the character, and hasn't yielded and ceded a life to this depravity. Similarly, if somebody, went to anger management, we would not applaud them if they said, I'm an angry guy and I'll always be an angry guy and you can count on me, I'll be angry every time you see me. I mean, that would not be celebrated. It would not be celebrated for those who need confidence and self-esteem to say, whatever, I'm a loser, I'll always be timid, I'll always be small, and I'll always hide in the corner and try not to be noticed. That would not be celebrated. Homosexuality and the coming out party is so different because it shows a real giving up. It shows that these obstacles, these weaknesses, these difficulties are so great that I yield and I'm just going to live this way. And it is celebrated as a hardening of the heart in order to deal with the shame, because unless you're going to go up for the fight, unless you're taking God with you, that fight will not be won. And so it's easier without God, of course, just to give up and give in and to join other people who've given up and given in and then just celebrate in a hardened heart that it's okay with a great shame and we'll just pretend there isn't any. And that's what's really going on. And that's some pushback on the reality. A second pushback is you get into the issues with children. You know, Jason said he looks forward to getting married one day and having children. I presume that that means get married to a man in a state that allows it and have children. Now, I don't know what he means with that, and it's not really about Jason. But, you know, one of the latest waves is that you find a surrogate. You know, you shop around for a womb for sale. You know, is there a uterus on sale somewhere? An unmotherly uterus, I hope, that we can, you know, use to get this, you know, gay couple a child. Is there one for sale, one available? Because that's what's really going on. And then people, you know, these grown-ups, I mean, it's like, really, seriously? I mean, that's really bad. You have to find somebody who's, you know, a woman who's ready to, you know, carry a baby in her stomach for 9 months and then give it away as a transactional matter. It's like, really? And that's mom. You know, forever the kid will wonder, you know, did mom have doubts about that? Did she want me but had done a deal? Did she regret it? Does she know me? Does she care about me? The kid will wonder that. Don't doubt yourself. The kid will wonder that, but that's all been placed on the kid because penile proclivities will be followed here, and those burdens will be laid on the shoulders and backs and lives and heads and consciences of the children. Meanwhile, it's a big party for the adults who live by instinct and bring that to bear on the kids who are going to wonder privately what's going on. And they'll have to do it privately because the adults in the equation will be too small, too offendable, too embarrassable, too botherable, too overwhelmed already, and too characterless to be able to deal with the questions. So the kids will do what they normally do. And they will quietly wonder those things on their own. Sadly, isn't it? It's so sad. A third thing, you know, and you just need to know this. I mean, in Romans 14, scripturally, Romans 14, verse 22, it says, "Blessed is the man who does not condemn himself by what he approves." And they're getting fewer and fewer by the day, but there are people still out there who will honor God above man, who will honor God above self, and who will not people-please people at the expense of God, and therefore will not approve of things, and thereby curse themselves by what they approve. And that's the kind of person to be. I know it is fashionable and popular just to keep as many people happy as you can, and make sure the squeaky wheels get all the grease they need. Make sure nobody is offended or bothered by what you think or say or are. Make sure that, you know, you don't run against the crowd here and sound a discordant note. But I will tell you that there are people out there who will live Romans 14:22, and they will not condemn themselves by approving of what God does not approve of. So, blessed is the man who doesn't yield in that. And so that's going to be some of the pushback as well. And that's really what's at stake. So I could go on and on, of course. Don't mess with me, man. I mean, I know what it is like to live by instinct, and I know the death spiral that brings. It is in my audio message podcast, Dead in the Water. I am aware of this issue. Also, don't mess with me that this is not personal for me, in that I'm not bothered or offended. I don't have the heebie-jeebies or the willies with this issue. People don't scare me or gross me out or bother me. That's not an issue at all. I don't even care. Obviously, it has no impact on me at all, other than that I love you. And it's in the message, right? The audio podcast message online. I don't care. I love you. I bring it up not because I'm bothered or troubled by it. I bring it up because I love you and give you a chance to know better.